Welcome, thrill seekers, to a world of spine-chilling tales and hair-raising adventures. Gather around for a frightful journey into the unknown as we delve deep into the realm of scary stories. Buckle up, hold on tight, and get ready to experience a rush of terror like never before. The small town of Westfield was known for its beautiful countryside, charming cottages, and friendly locals. But it was also known for something far darker, a sinister game of hide-and-seek that had been played by the town's residents for centuries. The game had been passed down from generation to generation, and only a select few knew of its existence. Those who did guard its secrets with their lives, knowing that the game was more than just a simple childhood pastime. It was a game that came with a price that few were willing to pay. The rules were simple. One person would be chosen to be the seeker, while the others would hide. The seeker would then have to find the hiders before sunrise. If they succeeded, they would be deemed the winner. But if they failed, they would be cursed by the game's ancient spirits. It was a game that the residents of Westfield had played for centuries, and one that had claimed the lives of many. But the game had never been played by outsiders until one group of college students stumbled upon it. The group of friends had come to Westfield for a weekend getaway, eager to explore the town's beautiful countryside and quaint cottages. They had no idea of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic town. On the first night of their stay, they had heard whispers of the game of hide-and-seek. They had laughed it off, thinking it was nothing more than a local legend. But as the night wore on, they began to sense that something was wrong. As the clock struck midnight, they heard a knock at the door of their cottage. When they opened it, they found a note waiting for them. It read, "Welcome to Westfield. We invite you to play our game of hide-and-seek. If you refuse, you will never leave this town alive." The group of friends was terrified, but they didn't want to show it. They laughed nervously and crumpled up the note, thinking it was just a prank. But as the night wore on, they began to hear whispers and footsteps outside their cottage. They knew then that they had to play the game or face the consequences. They gathered together in the living room, unsure of what to do. But as they sat there, the whispers and footsteps grew louder, and they knew that they had no choice. They had to play the game of hide-and-seek. One of the friends, a tall and confident young man named Jake, volunteered to be the seeker. The others scattered, hiding in every nook and cranny they could find. At first, the game seemed like nothing more than a harmless diversion. The friends laughed and joked as they hid from each other, their hearts pounding with excitement. But as the night wore on, they began to sense that something was wrong. The woods around them grew darker and more menacing, and the sounds of rustling leaves and snapping twigs echoed through the trees. The seekers seemed to move faster, their footsteps echoing through the darkness. As the night wore on, the game became increasingly sinister. The hiders began to disappear, one by one, leaving behind only whispers and eerie laughter. The seekers grew more aggressive, their movements becoming almost predatory. The friends soon realized that they were not playing a simple game of hide-and-seek. They were playing a deadly game, one that had been passed down from generation to generation, its dark secrets hidden in the shadows of the town's history. As the night wore on, the friends began to turn on each other. They became suspicious of everyone around them, each one believing that the others were working against them. The game had turned them into monsters. As the hours passed, the friends grew tired and their nerves frayed. They were beginning to think that the game would never end. But just before sunrise, Jake emerged from the woods, a sinister smile on his face. He had found all of them, he said. He was the winner. But as the friends began to emerge from their hiding places, they realized that something was wrong. They were not alone in the woods. Shadows moved in the trees, and they could hear whispers and laughter all around them. Suddenly, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Figures, shrouded in darkness, emerged from the woods. They were the town's residents, but their eyes were empty and their faces were twisted into grotesque smiles. The friends realized that they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than they had ever imagined. The game of hide-and-seek was not just a harmless pastime. It was a ritual, a sacrifice to the town's ancient spirits. The friends tried to run, but the residents of Westfield were too fast. They were surrounded, trapped in a circle of darkness. They could hear the ancient spirits whispering in their ears, their voices growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. One by one, the friends disappeared into the darkness. Their screams echoed through the woods, but there was no one there to hear them. As the last of the friends was dragged into the darkness, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was an old woman, her face wrinkled and withered. She was the guardian of the game, the one who had passed down its secrets from generation to generation. "You should have never played our game," she said, her voice echoing through the woods. "Now you are one of us. Forever." And with that, the old woman disappeared into the darkness, leaving the friends to join the ranks of the town's cursed residents. Years later, the town of Westfield was still haunted by the game of hide-and-seek. Locals whispered of the strange disappearances that had plagued the town for centuries and the ancient spirits that lurked in the shadows. The game was still played, passed down from generation to generation, its secrets guarded by those who knew its true power. And those who stumbled upon it were never seen again, their screams lost in the darkness of the town's history. For the friends who had played the game of hide-and-seek, there was no escape. They were trapped in the town's dark past, forever cursed by the game's ancient spirits. And their fate served as a warning to those who dared to venture into the shadows of Westfield. Beware the sinister game of hide-and-seek, for its secrets are deadly, and its power is absolute. Years later, a group of teenagers from a neighboring town stumbled upon the abandoned town of Westfield. They had heard the stories of the cursed town, but they had never believed them to be true. They were looking for a place to party, and the abandoned town seemed like the perfect spot. As they made their way through the deserted streets, they stumbled upon an old house. It was dilapidated and abandoned, but it seemed like the perfect spot to spend the night. As they settled in, they heard strange noises coming from the woods. Whispers and laughter echoed through the night, and the shadows seemed to dance in the moonlight. The teenagers grew uneasy, but they dismissed their fears as nothing more than their imaginations. But then, they heard a knock at the door. It was soft at first, but it grew louder and more insistent with each passing moment. The teenagers froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. They knew that they were not alone in the house. As they opened the door, they saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was an old woman, her face withered and wrinkled. She was holding a game of hide-and-seek, and her eyes were filled with a sinister light. "Would you like to play our game?" she asked, her voice echoing through the house. The teenagers tried to run, but they were trapped. The town's ancient spirits had claimed them, and they would never be seen again. And so, the town of Westfield continued to haunt those who stumbled upon it, a dark reminder of the power of the game of hide-and-seek. Its secrets were deadly, its power absolute, and those who dared to enter its shadows were forever cursed by the town's ancient spirits. As the night draws to a close, we bid farewell to the terrors that haunted us and the spine-tingling tales that kept us on the edge of our seats. Remember, the darkness may linger, but the dawn always brings a new light. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries of the unknown.